What? No theme music, nah?
Gusto, now Chris the host. Man, I make a little dinner whilst passing joke. Come to the yard, get it off your chest. There's no hard feelings when you're rocking with the best. Everything's crisp, everything's nice. Throw a little sugar, add a little spice. Ask all questions, cook a little rice. Gamble like Vegas and throw a little dice.
Raise your glasses, make a toast. Drop by Chris for a Sunday roast. Or 8 taste of his mixology. Get twisted and not off the Hennessy. Now your belly's full, play a game of ball. Gusto, he's coming from the old school. No if buts, maybes, whys. No silly questions, I tell no lies.
Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.
Live talks with the Mac Man, Vince Macaulay. Hey, the Mac Man.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Nice.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Nice to be with you. Looking funky.
You know the hat, and try to be like you. You know what I mean? I know what I mean.
I don't know about that.
Oh, how you been, man?
Yeah, been okay. Considering the situation, we can't complain. We have to be thankful.
Yeah, no worries, man. Appreciate you coming on to this live as well. Been
No, but it's good. You've been popping quite a bit lately.
I'm trying, innit? You know what I mean? So first, man, how have you been dealing with the quarantine anyway? How have you been adapted to it?
Well, I quite like it actually. I've barely been out, I have to say.
Get to rest.
It's been a real rest, you know. I mean, it's a sad situation, obviously, in terms of numbers and stuff. But for me, it gave me a chance to refocus on a number of things. You know, we were already on our way to stuff, and you know, it's the break was timely. It's allowed us to really recenter and refocus. I think everybody's doing the same thing. So, but obviously now itching and wanting to get back to work.
Yeah, definitely, same. Well, this I want to start pushing this more now. So no, this has been great. So same, had time to reflect, sit back and replan things. So yeah, I'm ready.
I mean, I like to say we're all better on our iPhones and iPads.
Yeah. We're all experts now.
Yes, it's incredible what you. I mean, we've done a whole bunch of coaching courses and coaching conferences, talking to coaches everywhere, because you know
I've seen all sorts. It's been amazing though, man. It's been amazing. Oh, I'll start off by man. So where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up? Well, that's a good one. I was born in Liverpool.
Scouserland.
Scouser, 1961. So I'm an old dude, you know. 1961, and then my mom and dad moved out to Nigeria. My dad's from Nigeria.
Yeah.
So we went to live in Lagos in Nigeria.
Okay.
Which is where I grew up, and I speak the language. I went to school, both primary school and secondary school in Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
I'm a proud Nigerian as well.
Hey, man, you'll be proud of it, man. Share it. You know what I mean? Flaunt it out, man. Don't be afraid to share it out. Let them all know.
For some of the Nigerians who are living out there, so I went to my secondary school was St. Finbarr's College in Lagos, which had a 6 of the nation's best footballers.
Serious?
You know? Yeah, absolutely. Playing for the national team, you know. So I got an early exposure to those guys, how they prepared, and you know, representing and stuff like that. So that was a great time in my life till I was about just after 16 when I came over to England for my A levels.
All right. And so was football one of your first sports before you played basketball?
Yeah, I love football. You know, I love football like everybody does. You know, we were always playing down there, but you know, back there it's playing with no shoes and kicking tree stumps, breaking your bones and all this.
you lived it rough then, yeah. So this was nothing when you came over here.
All these predator boots now and all. I can't understand that. You know, but
we had predator feet, not predator fruit boots.
But no, so swimming was actually my sport, believe it or not.
All right.
Swimming was my sport. You know, we used to practice every day. I actually made the Commonwealth Games team for Nigeria back in oh my God, in the 70s. I mean, we were supposed to go to. I made the Commonwealth. Supposed to get ready for the Olympics, and then the Olympics got suspended. I think I was only 15 at the time. So swimming was my real deal. So I hadn't actually played basketball till I came to Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. That's okay. So when did you first get into basketball then? When was your first? When was the first time you got into it and then you fell in love with it?
Roger's fault, you see. So so when I came to do my A levels in Liverpool, so I lived in Liverpool 8, and I went to Paddington Comprehensive School to do my A levels.
Okay.
And I was playing. I was forced to play a basketball game for the school.
What?
But
Okay.
school, you know, I was trying to get out of class, you know, and the guy said, "You got to come and play." I said, "I can't play. I'm a swimmer. I don't play basketball." He said, "No, you got to come and play because we only have 4 players. We can't start the game without 5." So I'm like, "Oh man!" So I said, "Show me what to do." So, you know, put the ball on the square, you know, that kind of stuff. And we played the game, and I did okay. We won the game, but I noticed throughout the game, and I've said this a number of times, there was this guy in a hat walking around the court.
Yeah.
You know, at the end, he came to me and said, "Hey, son," as he does.
I know who that is. If no one don't know who that is, boy, we know who that is straight away.
For sure. And he couldn't believe that I never played before, you know. So he invited me to come and join his team, the Liverpool ATAC, that time. So that's where I started learning to play, you know, with Paul Ambrosius and Jody John, all those guys.
Oh.
You know, they were already playing, and I joined them as a fresh rookie at that time.
Shout out Jimmy Rogers. So is that when you moved down to Brixton afterwards, or was
That's right. So I was there a couple of years. So I actually left Liverpool before Jimmy. So he sent me to Camden and Hampstead. There used to be a team called Camden and Hampstead based in Swiss Cottage.
Yeah.
It's been refurbished now, but back then it was the original Swiss Cottage Baths. There was a guy who ran that team called Bob Macaulay. And Bob Macaulay and Jimmy used to play basketball together in the army. You know, he was a Scottish dude, about 6'7". So we played there, and then I got a call one day from Jimmy saying, "Hey Vince, I'm in London. You know, we need a team. Let's go." So you know, he had already started work in Brixton with New Era. So some of those older Brixton guys will know about the New Era Foundation. But we were now set it up as Brixton Basketball Club to go into the new Brixton Leisure Centre. You know, which you know, people may forget. You know, if I think of some of my old guys, you know, like Basil Phillips and obviously Jody, Lee Martell, Ferrick, all those guys. There was a nice, what can I describe it as, fitness/sauna suite in the back of Brixton Red. I don't know if it's still well, that was when it first opened. And, to practice, then go into the sauna and go into the stretch and all. You know, we thought we were made at that time.
So what was the culture like in Brixton that early? Because for me, I don't know if it's the same as we got there afterwards, or did it change gradually?
You know, it was the same with Jimmy. You know, Jimmy was a hard taskmaster, as we all know. You know, everything, play hard. You have to play 94 feet of defense. And we felt proud at that time for, you know, it was like the first Brixton. I was the captain, and we had the red and black of Michael Jordan. And we kind of we were like, man, you know, let's get going. We felt really good. We had all the Dunkers, Clive Sinclair, Keith, I can't remember Keith's second name. These guys were high flyers. You know, we had an unbelievable team.
Okay.
And the girls' team and the boys' team alongside each other. And I'm trying to think of the young lady who was we had an import player for the women's team. And I just can't remember her name, but she was 6'5", dunking the ball.
6'5"?
You know? Yeah. This is what I'm talking 1985, 86. You know, so we had a real thing going on down there, and the atmosphere, Pat Freddy on the music, guys in the stands going nuts. It was a really incredible atmosphere, and Jimmy, you know, drove all of us on, and we had that, you know, full court press going on.
Yeah. And never forget the full court press with Brixton, where that was it. It's defense. If you didn't play defense, you sat down. As simple as that, isn't
There was always somebody ready to come in and replace you.
it? So you have to play. If you didn't step up, someone was taking your spot. Oh my god. So with Brixton, what happened after Brixton? What lessons did you take from Brixton, and when did you go afterwards?
Well, I mean, obviously Jimmy was a constant in my life anyway. Yeah. But the main thing about him was, you know, the play hard. Whatever you do, you know, do with enthusiasm, do it with commitment, you know, and play hard. And that was something that I took me all the time.
Yeah.
But obviously at that time I kind of had a dual career because I was playing and I was also in the film industry. You know, I just graduated from the London International School, in Covent Garden. So I was doing a lot of filming work and playing. And obviously that started to eat into my time. And I think at that time we used to practice, I think it was 3 or 4 times a night at Brixton. Yeah. So I was practice. So Jimmy was like, okay, you know, you ain't playing this weekend. And I'm like, what? He's like, it's practice, you know, you no practice, no play. I mean, everybody knows that, right?
Yeah, we know that rule.
You know that rule. So I ended up having to leave Brixton, which was sad. But me and another teammate of mine, Dylan Cole, young brother there, he was from East London. I was living in Ilford at the time. So, you know, we moved to Tower Hamlets. We went to play Tower Hamlets, which became London Docklands when I took it into the BBL for the first time in 1989, something like that.
Was that when you first purchased the team as well?
So it was, my coach at the time was Roy Childs, who was a teacher in a school in East London. And then one of my teammates, Paul Harbridge, the 3 of us ran the team. And then we went up into the BBL together, all of us, because the BBL needed a team at that time. I think there was a rule back in those days that if the number of teams ever dropped below 8, then the whole BBL would revert back to Basketball England.
Oh, you know?
So, you know, we were like, look, if you guys can come in, you know, and I was excited by the proposition. My guys were a little afraid. But we went in there. I did a deal with the Docklands Arena. So I don't know if you remember I'm not sure how old you are, but you remember the old Docklands Arena?
I can't remember it too tough. Yeah.
I mean, it's been knocked down in the Excel now, is there. But so we played there, you know, we played regularly there. At that time, I think we had Sam Stiller on the team, Mike Carter on the team, Junior, Taylor, all those kind of guys. So that was my first foray into the BBL. We ended up having to move out of Docklands, played a few games at Newham Leisure Centre, relocated to Michael Sobel when we got some investment. And that's where we got bought out by the Marshalls. The Marshalls used to promote all the best superstars, Lionel Richie, Tina Turner.
Right.
It became London Towers.
London Towers. Okay.
Became London Towers. And then at that point, you know, the guys were happy to just chill and enjoy it because they were putting a lot of money in, you know, Kevin Cade.
Yeah, I could imagine.
All the guys. I'm like, nah, I don't want to sit around and watch. I want to be in it. You
know,
So I left the guys behind and I went to Hemel. So that's the first time I took sole control was with the Hemel Royals.
Hemel Royals. Okay. How did that all come about with the Hemel Royals and what was the reason for? Because there was a few locations with that as well. You had Hemel, then you went to Milton Keynes, and then London.
Well, actually, Hemel, you know, it was close by to London. Back then, when you played games at Hemel, the place was always full. The atmosphere was brilliant. That has always been brilliant as a player. I used to love playing there. So, you know, and also the guy there was about to collapse with the team, and it was in BBL. So it made sense to take it over, you know.
Take over, yeah.
But of course, that was a learning curve because now you got a pro team. And if you go back to that era, you had the Towers were spending a lot of money, bringing a lot of big players in.
I heard. And they had some sponsors as well, wasn't it?
Big sponsors, big money.
Yeah.
I mean, they were playing at Wembley. It was fantastic. You know, and Sheffield, I think they were owned by Chris Wright, who owned Chrysalis Records. Manchester was owned by the billionaires from the Cook Corporation.
Wow.
Yeah, Newcastle was owned by the Newcastle Football Club.
Yeah.
So there was me, my little guys in Hemel. We were the London guys. You know, I had a bunch of London guys playing with me and trying to learn our way and make our way slowly but surely to try and develop that club.
So what were some of the toughest challenges from during that development from that club from Hemel up until bringing it to London? What some of the toughest challenges you experienced?
Well, you're trying to learn how to run a club.
Yeah,
You're trying to learn how to compete. You're trying to learn the business side of the club, and I love the aspects of selling sponsorship, of selling TV rights. I loved all of that engagement, but it was all based around community and what we could do in the community and what the club could mean in the community. So Hemel was a challenge. We ended up having to leave Hemel because the sports center closed down for 2 years.
yeah.
We couldn't stay there anymore. And then from Hemel, we had a short lifespan in Watford, which was around the corner.
Yeah.
Something there with the guys. Graham Taylor was the manager at Watford, and Elton John was the chairman. And they were excited. But that year, they won the first ever time they won promotion to the Premier League. So they dropped out. And then we relocated to Milton Keynes. So just trying to develop a culture in Milton Keynes for basketball was a challenge. But we negotiated that quite well. We put some community teams around. I developed this program of Lions clubs, and with these Lions clubs, in all of them slowly feeding into National League and so on and so forth. So those are the kind of challenges we had to get over.
That's good, man. That's good. And it's obviously got us this far, or got you this far, not us. Also, when did you first get into coaching and what made you go into the coaching route? And,
Well, I my role, on all the teams I ever played for, I was never the best player. I was never the highest jumper. But what I was the smartest guy on the floor. I knew what coaches wanted us to do. I knew how we needed to do it. I could tell when we were dropping it. I had a concept about the game, which I think is what you need. You need a concept about the game. So my coaching began around Hemel. I did some coaching there. I did employ some coaches there whilst also coaching myself. Then when we were in Milton Keynes, I had a series of 2 or 3 coaches, different levels of experience. Andre Lane was my first coach in Milton Keynes. Then we had Tom Hancock, an American coach, very, very good coach. Then we had Nigel Lloyd, who brought a lot of experience.
No, I know Nigel Lloyd very well. He's scared to challenge me at a shooting contest, but it's all good though.
Nigel in no shooting contest even now.
You don't want to do it again.
Nobody's beating Nigel. That guy works. But he can still shoot the ball.
He can shoot. That's what I mean. We had a shooting contest at the first Pro Classic. It was just 1st to 10 in so many spots from the free, and we was just shooting. I beat him once out of like 10 spots. That was it. And he was like, I want to go back to that spot you beat me. I was like, oh man. I said, and then ever since then, I'm like, when we're gonna rematch? Because I ain't trained in time, man. You gotta give me some time. I was like, oh whatever, man.
So then I coached around 2007. I started coaching in Milton Keynes. That's when we won the cup. I think that was 2008. We got the coach of the year there. Then I stopped coaching again because my thing was to develop my veteran guys. So I had a lot of veteran players back in Milton Keynes, like Yorick Williams, Robert Youngblood, Sean Jameson, Tony Windless.
Okay.
Very, very experienced guys. And the whole thing in Milton Keynes was we were supposed to be moving to a stadium where the football team were based. They were building a new stadium for us. So I had this vision that, all these veteran guys that had played for us, they could be the ambassadors when we get sponsors coming into the game, about basketball, right? So, I was trying to graduate them into the different parts of the business, So Mike New became our coach. But then it didn't work. It didn't work because the guys didn't want us to move into the stadium. We lost our home in Milton Keynes. So 2000 was when I was stuck. Basically, 2012, nowhere to play. But then the opportunity to move to London, it was tough. We had nowhere to play. So luckily, I did a deal for us to go into London and have the copper box. But we had to start at Crystal Palace. So I decided, okay, I better get back to coaching just so at least we can create an identity. And I did that and brought some more coaches in. And then more latterly, 2017, I went back to coaching, and we've been quite successful since.
That's good. That's good. So you're a man that knows how to talk people into things as well and get certain people motivated. Talk us what magic did you get Justin in? What was the magic to get Justin Robinson to London Lions, man? Didn't think I'd see that day.
as a Brixton alumni, you know, even while back in Hemel days and Milton Keynes, right to London, I would always say to Jimmy, "Hey Jimmy, you know, which of the young guys is ready to come? You know, who's ready? You know, who's not going to the States? Who's ready? You know." And over the years, I had several guys play with me. You know, I remember Adju Deng, Luol's brother, played for us a little bit in Watford. Kojo Mensah-Bonsu played for us in I think Marcus Knight played for us in Milton Keynes.
Oh, okay. The big bro, my big bro, yeah.
So all the guys that we brought from Brixton. So obviously everybody knew about Justin. So I'm talking to Justin. I mean, while I'm at it, obviously Matthew Bryan played for us for a hot minute, you know, when we first moved into the Cup box. But with Justin, it was different. You know, Justin was an established player in Europe. You know, part of my goal was how do we get these guys, better British players, to come and play at home, you know? So it was important to identify London guys who wanted to be home, great quality players. We spoke to Justin 2 or 3 years before he came, you know, kept telling him about what we were doing, kept updating him on the progress and how we were doing.
Okay.
Eventually, you know, he thought, okay, you know what, especially with the family growing and wanting to be close to the kids and everything else, I think he took that opportunity at that time and said yes. And obviously, you know, we've been no turning back since that time.
Yeah, knowing Justin as well, we both know him. He's one of those people who's just, he's honest and he's real. So as long as you show him as long as you show him what's going on and he sees it, he can see something in it. You know what I mean?
Well, of course, you know, and we know, you know, we're not football and we're not rugby and we're not cricket. And we know there's going to be bumps along the road, you know, and you've got to understand where people are coming from and where we're trying to go to. You know, we can't be knocked off course by the bumps, but we just have to deal with them, you know, and as long as people understand that, there's the way to go.
That's exactly it, man, exactly it. And it's been great, you know, him coming back to London, it's been a great turnaround for the franchise. He's done so well. In the first year, he became MVP, and then also he won, you know, became third in the league. Second, sorry. In the first season, he came second in the league. Yeah. And then next season, you win the title, the league title. How was that whole season for you? Because for me, that was a big moment for me, for myself as a fan, seeing that after 20 plus years, we finally in London won the league, and like it was amazing.
You know, on many fronts, that was huge because first of all, you know, that was a very London-based team.
Yeah.
You know, apart from Brandon Peel, Curtis Bristol, and Ladarius Tab, everybody's from London.
Yeah.
You know, so the atmosphere, the you know, with Justin, with Flo, with Jarrell Okoro, with Abe, Paul Guide, you know, the vibe was unbelievable. We had so much fun. You know, we were doing the business, but we had so much way, you know, and Justin's level of professionalism kept on pushing us, you know, but I thought the vibe and the understanding that we had between us was great. It was really enjoyable that year.
I loved it as well. I came to some of those games, man. I loved it as well. Even the coach, down to the assistant coaching as well, with the help of Andrea, Laurent,
you know, Andrea,
Mikel,
Dave, you know, Nick. I mean, obviously Nick and Andrea, obviously from Brixton also. You know, Dave. We now had Dave on board with us as well because he was head at the university. So you know, we had
Dave,
talent on and off the floor. You know, we prepared very well for the games. It was interesting. You know, it was a nice team effort. You know, considering who was actually with us, all the people that we had. You know,
the funniest coach in the league apparently is someone that's just said. No, I love that team, man. It was one of my favorite. Obviously it was my favorite team. I was supporting them all the way. So you know, I traveled to go see that team, and so it was one of my favorite. I mean, definitely love watching you play.
There was a lot of things with that team, you know, like, you know, with Ladarius Tab and the way he plays, you know, explosive around.
Oh my gosh!
Hands, you know, when he joined us. We had a preseason friendly at Brentwood with the Leopards.
Yeah.
And there'd been some problem with the flight and all that, so he arrived that morning. So we were playing some of the qualifying games while he was sleeping in the bleachers. You know, and then it's like, yo, you know, you've watched about 3 or 4 games. You need to start playing. So we warmed him up, went out for the first warm up in the game. And he took off from somewhere. It's like, holy Christ, look at this guy, you know. And he didn't look back from there on in, you know.
How was he? How was he that when you first met? What was your first impressions of Darius Tam? When
that's it. That was the first
that
impression.
was the first one, yeah.
Because I'd recruited him, we'd watched him on tape. He was sensational on tape. And then he came, you know, sleepy and everything. And we're like, well, you know, we know that. Look, you recruit the guys. I haven't gone to the state. Sometimes I go over there and we look at them at the camp, but we had to recruit him from tape, you know, games, talking to his ex-coaches. So we thought we had the right guy. Bearing in mind, by the way, he'd missed the flight. So I'm always pissed when the players miss the flight because it's like, okay, let's check him out. But once he took off and threw down the first tomahawk, we were off and running, and he didn't stop.
Sold. What about Brandon Peel?
Well, Brandon's something else. You know, Brandon is something else. You know, Brandon, after finishing school, Brandon didn't get a job. You know, so he was working as a nursery school teacher in DC. You know, so he hadn't got a job. My ex-player, Nuno, who's an agent now, he said, Vince, take a look at this guy. I do think there's something there. I don't know why people are overlooking him, you know. So I took a look, and I'm looking at this guy. I'm thinking, Jesus, look at this guy. Longest arm, 6'8", jump, shoots. And he just reminded me so much of Charles Smith from Newcastle. You know, like a young version of Charles Smith, because he could do everything. So I spoke with him, and he was really keen to start his career. Now, the first year he came, I wasn't coaching. Coach Mario was coaching, you know. And I'll tell you a funny story about Brandon. We went to, our preseason was Poland. We went to Poland. And we played all these games in Poland. And I think Justin said, Vince, this guy is not going to make it. I said, which guy? He said, Brandon. I said, what do you mean? He said, we've been here 3 days. He hasn't eaten.
He hasn't eaten?
I said, what do you mean? He said, Vince, he hasn't eaten. I said, so me, Justin, and Joe went to see Brandon. Brandon, what's the problem? He's like, Coach, you know, this food in Poland is kind of funny. You know, I don't know. Well, look, you've been here 3 days. We played 3 games, and you haven't eaten. You're gonna die. You know. So from then on, he started eating and was okay. But unfortunately, Coach Mario didn't get on with him. Didn't really play him much. You know, I think it was 8 to 10 minutes a game. And then when I took over in January, I had no choice but to play. And I only had 6 players after the other games. And from then, there was no turning back. The guy is a sensational player, you know.
You're not eating though, man. That's a story. I've heard some stories on these talks, man. That's got to be one of the top 3 I've heard so far, man. Oh, he didn't eat for 3 days. That's a concern.
It wasn't used to flash and whatever it was they eat over there, you know.
Oh gosh. Talking of Newcastle, how was that like in that moment there when you won the title in Newcastle, and when that game where Justin just went ballistic, when he just annihilated them? It was just like he just came in and said, "I'm taking this title. No one's gonna stop me."
You know, that was an interesting time. So obviously, if you remember, we should have won it the day before, the Friday before.
Yeah, against the Cheshire Phoenix. But they were trying to stay in the playoffs. So it was...
you know, it's sad because, you know, my mom was seriously ill. My mom was living in the States, you know, and I needed to go over. So I said to the guys before the Cheshire game, I'm like, guys, I need to get over. So let's win this game so I can go. But we lost the game. So they're like, are you going? I said, well, I've booked my flight for the morning after the Newcastle game. So win or lose, I'm out of here. You know. So we got a nice trip up there. And before I left, actually, I put on I have a Barbados T-shirt that Nigel gave me, you know. And I got on the bus, and then Andre said, "Oh, okay, it's over now then," because he was like, once I saw the Barbados T-shirt, I knew we're good. So we got down there. You know, Newcastle, they were a bit disjointed that year, albeit they had good talent. You know, they had good talent, but they were disjointed. But of course, we were all a bit nervous. You know, we're trying to win the title. I
was nervous for you as well. I was like, we need to win this. I was like, please.
Everybody was a bit nervous. So we started the game kind of shaky. And we got about, I want to say 6 or 7 minutes into the first quarter. And I'm thinking, man, this isn't going right. So I made a decision. I don't know who I pulled out. It might have been Ladarius or somebody. I pulled them out. and I put in Jonathan James. Now,
Yeah.
you might know Jonathan James, right? He went to Hackney with us, young kid.
Yeah.
Really opportunity, John James went off. He scored 9 points in the first quarter and got us on our way. And then Justin took over. And then, we brought the shiny pot with us.
The rest was history, man. I was like, please do not win this. Funny enough, I was at the Bristol versus Royals game that day. You lot won the title. I was at Bristol versus Royals. Yeah.
Okay, you got the short end of the straw then.
Yeah, so I was at that game. They won that game, but I got the news on my phone. I was like, yes. That was it. We won it. Definitely, man. That was a great moment, man. That was a great moment for London. And obviously, the next season, this season was getting even better, but
yeah, this
obviously
season
with the COVID.
Yeah, COVID cut it short, but we were right where we thought we were going to be. We had a couple of slip-ups on the game. We all agree now. I think that Justin actually had COVID. That's why he didn't play that game against.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, against Surrey. The game we lost against Surrey. He
didn't play that game, did he?
No. Because we looked at the schedule from that point and we thought, okay, actually, I think we had Leicester, Surrey, somebody else, and we thought we could win all the way through. I know you got Coach Paternoster coming in at 4, so in case he's watching, just to say, that was a 34-point blowout. But he's gonna have to. Sorry, on the road. Otherwise, we'd have been obviously tied up top there. But we had the head-to-head with Glasgow. And we thought we could do it again. Which can you imagine doing it again? Maybe Justin gets MVP for the 3rd time.
That would be momentum. That would be a momentum for Great Britain, definitely for British basketball. So that would be great. One more one.
So many of the younger players are here now. A lot of British guys want to come home. We had Ovi this year. I mean, who knows who we're going to have next year? So
okay, I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask about Ovi. How did that come about, man? How did you get him over here? That was another one.
Well, obviously, we didn't. Obviously, with his success on Love Island, he probably had to stay in London to take advantage of some of the opportunities. He had some super duper opportunities, So I got a call in the summer. I was in India last summer, and I got a phone call from his agent saying, "Look, he's going to be in London. We want to play." So let's see what we can do. So we're able to put a deal together. We couldn't get him as early as we'd like because there was a few things going on, but we got him for some games. And it was great to have him with us, another veteran guy, another guy who's done it all. And he brought again some more toughness to what we were trying to do. And also he brought a lot of new people to the game.
He was strong dude as well, man. Strong dude.
I said this the other day. When we do our team intros and all the guys are all doing all this. You think we all high five? We're trying to get out the way because this high five.
I shaked his hand once and I thought he crushed my hand. I was like, yeah. So how you doing, man? Man.
Bro, guys know how to steal,
Oh my gosh, he is so strong. Oh my gosh. There's a question I always ask on these talks to get everyone's perspective. What's your views on the basketball scene in England, the BBL and British basketball, WBBL, and like what things you think are working and what things you think they can improve on?
Well, it's funny. It's such a big topic, and we have to try and sort of keep it into little compartments to understand it better. I made this point on. There's a nice Facebook group called English Basketball History.
Okay.
You should check it out. It's got a lot of old clips and old games, old pictures, old stories, And I was explaining to someone there that, sometimes we get so frustrated that we're not respected in the game. Our sport's not respected in the country. The media don't respect us. And we get so frustrated that we kind of fight ourselves, and we have to really, really be calm as far as that's concerned and communicate, because there's a lot of really good things taking place. I know that, we do what we have in London here. We've got the top league, best British players, great university program, National League opportunities, juniors through the Youngblood Lions. So we know that we're in continuity. If you look at Leicester, The amazing situation there, great team, great
yeah,
venue, Loughborough University, academy program, you know, fantastic. Newcastle, so all the clubs are working in this direction. Now, the rest of the sport, when you look at the rest of the National League type situation and you say what's going on, and there's some people that are trying to make it happen. You know, Southampton in Solent, you saw what they did this year.
yeah, they did great.
Club, great support, great program, great people. Worthing, what Zaire is doing there with all those people down there. The guys at Leopards. So there's people trying to do it the right way. And we just have to keep communication going and try and spread this thing out, because it's a lot better than people say it is. The standard of the BBL is higher than people think it is. A lot of guys, you look at players and you say, oh yeah, he's doing this in Europe, he's doing that in Europe. He comes over here, he can't do it. You know, the league is better than people think. I think the WBBL, we need to spend a bit of time on that. I think some of our best British players are playing here. We're just going to spend time in promoting that. You know, we're looking to try and do that a lot more this year with the BA London Lions, try and promote them a bit more. So for me, I'm positive about where we are. I think we're just going to keep on focusing in the right direction, all of us together, rather than attacking each other. Because people always say, oh, where's the British players coming from? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, they're there. There's a lot of British players there.
They are here. They are here. There's loads of them. I've seen loads of British players.
Yeah. You know, and I know it's always going to be difficult to persuade a 17-year-old guy or girl that they don't want to go to the States, or no need for you to go to the States. That's going to be difficult, because the States comes with not just the basketball, but the lifestyle and all of that stuff.
And the facilities and all sorts for something for them to work with. So
I don't want to take that away from them. If you want to go, go. But if you want to stay, you can come to an academy in London here with us. You get coached by Coach Andre, other people from the Lions. We've got dedicated coaches. Coach Andrea will coach with you. You know, Coach Billy, who's in charge of our program there. If you go to university, Coach Dave's going to handle you. You'll train with the BBL men. I mean, there's real opportunities there. You'll get a free education. So I think we just got to stay positive and keep pushing in the right direction. We'll be fine.
definitely, definitely. I think my take, I've said in a lot of my shows, I think sometimes the marketing, I wish they could put it in right places sometimes as well, maybe to boost it up a bit more. Like, you know, put more.
I think you're right. But the problem is, you know, we need something to hang the marketing on. You know, so him being a two-time MVP, you know, we're trying to promote him in London. So when you see those big screens that we have around London, so people can say, "Oh, who's this guy? Well, this is the British guy who's the best player in the league."
Yeah,
you know, we have kind of ability to do that. But without the media respect, they don't pick up on that. So we saw the article from Justin in the Evening Standard earlier in the week. Imagine if we were having this kind of exposure every week. Then the general fan gets to learn about basketball and starts to find out where their nearest team is. So I think something like, you know, The Last Dance, that's going to help us. You know, The Last Dance is going to help us, because I'm getting approached by people who don't know anything about basketball. Saying, hey,
same. Same.
You know, we've got to try and capitalize on these kind of things, because it's that media space that we can't break into, no matter how hard we try. I mean, you know, we could take an advert on the TV, but it won't resonate without the media sort of joining it and supporting it in what it's about. You know,
definitely. I've always also said as well, I think as well as marketing, have some more interaction with the players themselves. Like, let people meet the players and get to know them a bit more. And that would be a great opportunity, great idea, I think, as well. That will get people to feel like they know who the players are. And then again,
yes, I think we're further down the road with that now. I think, you know, if I look at my team and I look at someone like Joe and what he does on social media, you know, Joe is a character out there on social media. Justin is also active on social media. People are beginning to understand more about him. I mean, this lockdown, I've learned a lot more around someone like Drew Lasker in Newcastle. So I think guys using the social media a lot more to engage with fans is a really positive thing, and we need to do more as clubs to create our superstars.
And everyone work together, and the more we work together, the more we expand even more. So that's the right path.
Kind of interviews and podcasts and so on to try and get the word out there, you know, that kind of thing, you know. See a guy asking a question over here.
With the new money coming into Lions, what avenues are you considering investing in? Marketing, media? That's the question you've been asked.
Yeah, from rebound there. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to look at what's being done from a sporting marketing perspective in London with some of the bigger teams. So we're having a dedicated marketing team. I mean, we've got before our new investment, we had 4 full-time staff and that's not counting players just behind the office, and then we had about 3 or 4 part-timers and about 40 volunteers. That's kind of how we're made up. What we're trying to do now is actually have a dedicated media team to create profile, to create programs for us over the season. That's the big thing. The stuff that we did with Justin on the Evening Standard through Sonia, who manages some of our PR, we're going to do a lot more of that. So
okay.
you need to equip the back office with these kind of people to drive it. And I don't think, no disrespect to any basketball club, neither mine, we haven't all had the choice of resource that we should have in the back office. I think we're going to be in a position to try and do that now, and hopefully that'll have an impact, not just for us, but for the game.
Definitely, man. That sounds like a great idea. I can't wait to see that unfold. Definitely be great. As the next part of my talks, under my favorite part, these are the hotspot questions. So the 2 3-part questions, but as you're a coach, I'm going to do it from a coach perspective. So there we go. So first part is a player you love coaching, player you love coaching against, and a funny player you've coached.
Okay, player I love coaching. I mean, I've had a lot of. I've been fortunate, and you're going to put me on the spot because you're asking me for one of these. So I'm going to tell you that going through one of the best players I've ever coached, from a coaching perspective, is Drew Spinks. Drew Spinks was our captain in Milton Keynes.
Okay.
Drew was excellent. He understood his position. He understood everybody's position on the floor. He was a motivator, and he knew everything we were doing. It was just a beauty, Joe, our captain, has been with us for 6 years now, I think. 7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
He will do whatever the team needs.
Okay.
But actually, obviously, coaching Justin and being able to execute has been a huge plus from a coaching standpoint. So, from coaching who I've loved coaching, those are those 3 there.
Okay.
Coaching against? Oh, that's a tough one. You mean player-wise or coach-wise, you mean?
You could go coach or player-wise, whichever you prefer.
Well, I've always loved coaching against Fab and Rob.
Okay.
Because if you're coaching against them, it means you're in a big game. So I've always loved off the floor, Rob and I get on so well.
Yeah.
On the floor, we hate each other. I love coaching against him because I know it's all about ball, and that's a really good thing. And with Fab, Fab's intensity is second to none. That he brings, he'll cry for the game. He's that kind of, I'm a little bit more of a joker, so I like to kind of bait Fab a little bit and enjoy that little aspect of it as well. And then the guy I used to like coaching, some of the guys who played for me, like Orlan Jackman and Theo. I love coaching against them just because we get each other and fun. The one that you said?
Funny player you've coached. One of the funny players you coached.
One of the funniest players I've coached is Jarrell Okoro. Because Jarrell will be huge if he would get out of his own way. Because Jarrell is so being busy. He's a great guy. He'll put whatever effort is required. And I just feel he's such a genuine guy, and his improvement with us. I felt his improvement with us when he was with us was sensational.
Definitely.
But he always makes everyone laugh.
Apparently, you're trying to get everyone mad on the sidelines from Kofi and Matthew. All right. So there's a. You got another part to the 3-part question. So next one was a player you didn't like coaching. So you not necessarily didn't like them, but you might not like coaching them. A player you didn't like coaching against, kryptonite, and then a funny opponent that you liked coaching against.
Okay, you're losing me on the way, but you're gonna help me out. Guy that was always tough to coach against was was Charles Smith. You know, I mean, Jesus wept. Because I've coached against Charles Smith, you know, from when he first came into the league. When Charles came into the league, he was strict 6 foot and in.
Yeah.
A high jumper, and that was it.
Yeah.
He worked on it, he developed his game, and then he went to Spain, played in Spain, came back to Newcastle, developed. All of a sudden, not only did you have this guy with all these skills and unbelievable range, but he was a big time guy. You know, really, you know, and he was almost impossible to stop. Almost impossible to stop. You know, I'm just trying to think of some of the games that we played against him. There was just nothing we could do about him.
He just tried everything. Box on one don't work. This and that don't work.
Oh no, and just so smart, you know. So any game that you beat Newcastle up in Newcastle is you have to be happy about that, you know. And then who else am I looking for? You said somebody had coaching against. Who else? So
a player you didn't like coaching. So not even necessarily you didn't like them. You don't even have to say his name. You could say it as a player, and I can live with that one. And then the last one was the funny opponent you like coaching against. Yeah, I mean, in terms of guys that I've coached, you know, anybody who's played for me, I am who I am. I don't pretend to be anybody. I am who I am, and they know where I'm coming from. So the only way that there would ever be an issue is if they don't buy into what I'm trying to say. And the only thing that ever, you know, so it's tough for me to pick someone, but the only one type of player that I don't like coaching is somebody who's not prepared to give the effort. I don't care if your level is up here. I don't care if your level is down here. You give me the effort, you know. And obviously, people who've watched me over the years, they know I'll never hesitate to put a young fellow on the floor. I mean, you know, Jordan Spencer, when Jordan Spencer was playing for us when we were at Crystal Palace. Yeah, I remember. He started BBL games. I think he started 17 BBL games that year. And you know, when I had young Jonathan James, anybody, I'll play. If you're there and you can practice doing, I'll put you on that. Fair enough. And then the funny opponent you coached against. Funny opponent. Well, you know, the guy that was always the funniest guy was a guy by the name of Bob Donewald. Bob Donewald. I don't remember him. Let me tell you, Bob Donewald coached Leicester. Yeah. He coached Derby. And he coached the London Leopards. Yeah. Now, trouble follows Bob everywhere, right? Trouble follows Bob everywhere. Now, the team that he had at Derby was probably one of the most entertaining basketball teams this country has ever. You know, he had Yorick Williams, a young Yorick Williams. You know, that's like, you know, one step from the free throw line behind the back, throw it down. He had Rico Alderson, always was finding someone to fight. Yeah, he had Mo Robinson. He had Tim Lascelles. He had these unbelievable athletes, and they'd be going around fighting people everywhere. But and then with Bob, he then left. You know, his job. He had got a job in the NBA, and his job in the NBA was with Cleveland in LeBron James's first year, and his job. Yep, and his job only nothing to do with coaching. His job was to keep LeBron out of trouble. That was his job. Now, that was his job. This is a guy that trouble follows, and they had him looking after LeBron. So, of course, that didn't go well. Now, so after that disaster, he became the head coach of China. Yeah. Now, you saw, I don't know if you've seen on internet, the fight between the China national team and Georgetown. Jason Maxill. There you go. And he chased him around the court. Bob Donewald for you. Oh, that's a bad luck, man. just everywhere you go, trouble just follows, man. Oh my God, bad luck. Oh, meet him. He's a great guy, but you know, gets a bit loose when the ball goes up. Rico Alderson was. I remember Rico Alderson. Oh my gosh, that was another one. Rico, something else. I mean, he really was. Wow, he was something else. There are clips online on YouTube. You can see him play an incredible athlete, desire. My goodness. But, you know, for me, right, I mean, I've done everything in basketball as far as playing, coaching, commentating, watching the floor, watching the kid, whatever, driving the bus, whatever it takes. But one of the things I like is
when I was commentating, you know, before when I was in Milton Keynes, even some of the times when I was in London, I would commentate on the games, and I used to visualize myself because I went to New York. I went to the Rocker Park tournament.
Yeah.
Right? Saw what happened there back in the day, and I used to try and create that kind of atmosphere when I was commentating. That was a situation where if you go to Rocker Park, you look up about 4 or 5 rows back, all the old boys are there.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Your hair, sitting there looking at you coming in. Yo, man, look at these guys' shorts coming up in here. What's going on? You know, and they used to commentate the game and just kill you. You know, so you have to come ready. And I used to love to commentate in that way. You know, and a few players used to hate me commentating their games.
Oh my gosh, man, that's dope, man. Anyone else who's tuned in, got any questions for Vince firing? And Vince, do you have any questions for myself while we're here?
Well, I mean, for me, it's always important for me to understand, you know, how the game is looked on from the outside. So I listened to a podcast the other day. I think it was, I think it's a podcast by Chooks and them. I think it's called Juice. Is it Orange Juice or Juice 2 or something? Have you seen that podcast?
I think so. I think I've not seen it, but I think I've heard of it.
The guy's plays, it's for, his name will come to me in a minute, played for Westminster.
Tosin.
Tosin
and Justin and Justin Hitchman, yeah.
So I love listening to that because, you know, they're talking more around young British guys playing, talking about how it looks like from the semi-professional angle, shall I say, from Division 1, that kind of thing. That was a real insight for me because it's a long time since I played at that level. So I think I'm always interested to understand from people what happens, how they see the sport from where they are. Because, you know, I can only see it from where I am, obviously. And I'm always trying to take account of different angles of the game. So how they see it from their side is important because it's all of us games, all our games, you know.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question for you. That's a question to see how you see the game. From
how do I see the game? What, the league or the game or
in Britain, you know, because not so much the league, but how do you feel the game that you look at it?
The way I look at it, is I just feel like sometimes we're not respected enough. Like I feel like there's so much talent there, and there's so much people. There's so much places for people to play. Pro Classic has a lot of talent, and a lot of people don't go to see it. There's been other events as well with a lot of players that are coming up. And I spoke to some kids. I had some kids on my talks last week, under 18s. They play under 18s, and I asked them about British basketball. And they said they don't watch it because they don't know enough about it. They don't know what's going on. They don't see it enough to want to engage and take time to watch British basketball. So I think it's one of those ones. It's not respected enough. It's not seen enough. And I do believe we have the talent here. We have a lot of great players here. So it's just about.
That makes me think two things. It makes me think, you know, in terms of if they don't see it. I mean, in this day and age of the phone and you can get stuff on. I don't understand why we're not getting that out to the guys for them to see it.
Yeah.
So that's ask ourselves that why aren't we making those kind of highlights? You know, talking to someone like Sam at Hoopsfix, you know, he's always been banging on about why haven't we got half an hour highlights going out within half an hour of the games and consistent.
Just bang out.
That's one of the things we want to try and address from where we are is that, you know, is the content coming out all the time? Sometimes we're a little concerned that does it look right? Well, actually, maybe it doesn't need to look right. It just needs to be out there.
Just get out there. And then you can develop as you go along. Like even if it's not as good as when you send it out, as long as you send that out, the next time you can improve on it and then do it even better. As long as it's out, sometimes I think
the quantity we have to address. But then, in terms of the respect of the game, sometimes I sometimes think, okay, then if the game was successful, what would it look like? You know, because then maybe at some point you can deal with that situation. It's like, okay. Because we say, oh, the game's not successful or we don't do it, you know. All right, then just cross all of that out. If it was successful, what would it look like? You know, that's what I'd ask you. Successful. I mean, I know the first answer a lot of people say is, oh, get it on television. But I don't watch television. Do you watch television?
I think being successful, I think making it more accessible. Some, like you said, some don't watch it on television. There's a lot of people that are using YouTube. Like it's BBL's on the YouTube. Let's advertise it more that's on YouTube or something. You know what I mean? Get more.
It is the coverage needs to be better, even if it's not on television. But if it still needs to be shot in that way, because I don't watch the NBA on television. I can watch it on my phone. I don't watch it on television, but I
Yeah,
still know
yeah.
what's going on. You know, so
Oh,
maybe that's where we focus on the quality of what we're producing, but not necessarily on television, but accessible to everybody.
yeah, yeah. And even on the internet, sometimes having the scores up on the internet on some websites, other than just the BBL, some other websites like Google maybe, or something in your notifications or email notifications, anything just to get it out there. Like
So that's,
results.
you know,
Sure.
things that collectively we need to address. I'll be talking to my people that that's something we need to address. I think one of the questions that came through just now said, is the BBL better now than 10 years ago with the Sky deals and stuff like that? And the thing is,
It depends how you look at
10
it,
years,
innit?
it looked better, but it wasn't actually better because the clubs were all losing money. They were all spending more money that they didn't have because the money wasn't coming in. It was a rich benefactor. But even so, when it was on Sky, it looked the part on Sky, but the numbers were terrible. You know, even the NBA numbers, if you look at the NBA numbers on BT, they're terrible. It's less than 4,000 or 5,000 people, you know.
Yeah,
So it looks the part, but it's not getting, you know, it doesn't need to be on a pay-per-view. It needs to be, if it's there, it needs to be free, you know. So as far as it being better, I don't know if it's better. I think from my perspective, I feel that our operation and what we're doing is better than we were doing 10 years ago. I feel that there are more British players playing now than there was 10 years ago.
there was, yeah, there is more British players.
There's a clearer pathway for players. If I'm a young 17-year-old kid in Hackney or a young 17-year-old kid in Birmingham, I know there's a pathway I can follow if I want to be a pro. You know, there are that will give me academy deals, they will give me college deals, university deals. So the pathway is better now. So I guess it's horses for courses, but we should be careful. And I say this as an older person, we should be careful that we don't keep looking back and saying that things were better in the old days just because, you know, is Michael Jordan better than LeBron?
Do some more research on it. I get that. Fair enough. I get that. No, but I think, yeah, it can, like I said, there is some things that can improve on it. Like, again, more interaction with players. And I think, again, having more access in other avenues with scores and that, highest player of the game. I think marketing players and matchups is so much, it will be so key as well. Like Justin versus a Fletcher matchup, that would be so great to market that. And it will bring more interest.
Yeah, I think we need to do more of that. You're right. I mean, I know, when we were preparing our programs and stuff, I think it's always important to recognize the players that are coming in. We're playing against the London Royals and, NBA is coming in. We need to make a big deal about the fact that that's the situation. If Fletcher's coming in, yes, GB International, Kofi Josephs is coming in. We need to make a big deal about it so that we're playing in a vacuum. We're playing against really good guys. If we win, we've beaten some really good guys. If we lose, we've lost to some really good guys. Those are the kind of things we should do more of in terms of bigging up the opposition,
Making them feel special. That's what I say. Make everyone feel special. The players, coaches, the fans. That's it.
Definitely. One question here that all teams should be named after and aligned to football clubs. I don't necessarily agree with that, by the way, because what do we do? Do we align to Tottenham? Do we align to Arsenal? What do we do? Chelsea?
I reckon we do our own thing. We're doing all right now. It's developing, so Yeah. So it's developing and that. So yeah, I think we're doing all right. Just getting our own. I think the next big step for teams now to start doing what Newcastle and Leicester did and get their own stadiums eventually. So that's the next step.
Because don't forget, you'll make as much money on concessions as you will do on tickets if the venue is yours. So that.
All right. It's the live's logging us out in 20 seconds. So Vince, it's been a great one, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Really good. We should do it again soon. And
definitely.
Hopefully, people out there will keep an eye on the London Lions.
All right, man. We'll stay in touch. Definitely. Everyone, peace out.
Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris. Everything Chris.
Yes, I'm Chris G, host of Everything Chris. Hope you liked that video. If you did, click that like button. Also leave a comment. And also, if you want to see more, click that subscribe button to get a notification when we upload new content every single time. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you stay tuned for some more. And also, as you know, with me, everything's always Chris.